Pablo graba todo por tu puta madre.
Take a seat, rip open those trapper keepers, and welcome to the Horrible Film School. I am Chris here with Ryan Hootie.
What's up, fellas? Am I the only one who got the handy cam out and walked around the house in the dark using the black light?
Giving himself a handy. I didn't do that. What the hell did you use a black light
Were you
for?
looking for fucking cum stains or something?
Not the black light. What is it? Night vision. There we go. Sorry.
Fucking night vision?
Hold on, I'm going to flip on the night vision. Oh, shit. This is
Do you want to restart this whole shit? It's fucking, instead of REC, it's just going to be CUM. And it's going to be him walking around with a fucking black light and a camera.
And Mr. Nasty himself, my brother from the same mother, Joey.
How you doing, beautiful people? So let's clear this up before we continue. Is it rec or record? Thoughts, chat?
I'm a record guy.
Well, I can tell you that I used a search engine to look for a rec, and according to Google, it's record.
You got to usually leave out the braces. The braces are important.
I did not use the braces. No,
I
did
literally
not.
just typed in REC 2007 and knew exactly what I was
Oh, I
talking
didn't put the
about.
date there. I am not
What was
that
using
smart.
fucking Bing or some shit?
Yes, I was using Ask Jeeves.
What was Ask Jeeves?
Jeeves, where is rec at, my bud?
I'm in the rec camp.
Today's assignment, as we've been spoiled to already, 2007's rec or record, depending on your state of mind. Today's lesson, always hire the beefiest cameraman.
Pablo.
Pablo.
So you guys know the drill. We get this thing kicked off with some fan reviews. Our first review comes by way of username Disfigurator.
Oh, that's a
back in
fucking
2009.
badass name for a movie.
I thought it was Defibrillator. It's so hard not to say Defibrillator, but Disfigurator.
Fuck, that's like the most badass superhero name I've ever heard.
Yeah, but this review comes by way of Disfigurator back in 2009 through IMDb, and it's titled Pathetic. The film has 4 good things in it: protagonist breasts, last antagonist, visual aesthetics of the last place, the end credits. The rest is made of idiocy in style of Black Witch. He typed fucking Black Witch. The rest is made of idiocy in the style of Blair Witch Project. Endless, brainless screaming. They even managed to ruin this aspect of undead flicks. Worthless story, a scenario without the presence of intellect. This fictional operator without any control over or the ability to hold the camera straight, and without the ability to film, which is illogical, having in mind his profession. Tons of factual errors, one on top of another, idiocy over the stupidity, and vice versa, etc. This dude just like got a fucking word soup going on right now.
Pretty verbose, man.
I feel like there's an agenda behind this. It's not about the movie. It's just like way too much wrong with it.
I think this dude just doesn't like found film horror shit. The film has no good story, no intellect in script, no good characters, and no good acting. It is a lame pseudo-documental material which wants to create terror using this approach. Think of tagline, inspired by true events. But merely creates a nightmare and lunacy, and in this case, it is not a compliment. Cinema should be a form of art, not the pseudo-realistic regurgitation of surprisingly weakly constructed reality. 1 out of 10, and only for those 4 good things.
Fucking hey, man. So he's taking the highbrow film as art. Film should be treated with respect. And
this dude thinks this movie is so bad, he's willing to say like an 8-cup set of tits is better than this movie.
And to some folks, they are.
All right, and with their rebuttal, we have Roy Stead, also by way of IMDb, with his or her 2008 review titled The Best Horror Movie Ever Made, Bar None. Calling Wreck the best horror movie of the year would be a huge understatement. It is the best horror movie I have ever seen, and that's a statement I don't make lightly. Absolutely stunning, completely terrifying, and flawless in terms of writing, directing, acting, pacing, visual style, cinematography, etc. I'm sitting here having just watched it and experiencing something I've not felt since the first time I saw Robert Wise's original The Haunting and the Bobby segment of the 1970s portmanteau horror, Dead of Night. My heart is racing and my head is cotton wool wrapped from the sheer exhilaration of watching a pretty much perfect horror movie which manages to touch every base from psychological to gore without at any time feeling forced. I'm just stunned that horror movies can be this good.
Cotton wool wrapped.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to do that to my
Cotton
brain.
wool wrapped, much like Chris's leg will be soon.
Yeah, pretty much. Get a couple edibles in me. You might have my brain wrapped in cotton wool.
I think you might have picked the two most polar opposite comments we've ever had on the show.
That was like, they both had, I guess, eloquent points, even though the first guy kind of butchered it with
the Black Witch Project.
All I took out of his is I want to go watch the Black Witch Project. It sounds like a fantastic movie.
Damn, bro, there's a witch up here, bro.
Everybody see the leprechaun say yeah.
Shit. Everybody see the witch say yeah.
It's Tales from the Hood meets the Blair Witch Project.
I want that gold. I want that witch's brew.
Yeah, that bro.
I want that brew. But all kidding aside, before we get into this thing, why did you pick this movie, Joseph?
Here recently, as much as I love like light horror, like / comedy, I just felt like we needed to pick a movie that got back to the roots of horror, and I feel like
the thrills and chills.
I've seen this movie several times at this point, and we haven't had a movie that's found film. We haven't had a movie that's, in a foreign language. I mean, I guess you can say Suspiria was foreign language, even though it was like, dubbed.
Yeah,
I would,
awkward
yes.
Italian dub thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just a good movie. It's a movie that deserves to be talked about, and it doesn't really get, in my opinion, the recognition it deserves in a lot of circles. Like, I would put this up there with 28 Days Later and like every other zombie horror movie that's considered like God tier.
Yeah, when you think about movies that are foreign that America tried to recreate, and we've all done a pretty horrible job with it, like The Ring and The Grudge, those are remembered maybe not because they were good remakes, but because they just hit a certain time to where Record and Quarantine, I feel like have been forgotten about. Quarantine for good reason, obviously.
Yeah. Fortunately, I had the exposure to that one first. Caught it in a theater on opening night. Had zero knowledge of Record at the time.
You were hype, apparently.
It's just the thing to go do, man. A horror movie on a Friday night. Young man about town.
For some reason, when I was doing my research for this movie, I stumbled upon a movie we had seen back in like the mid to late 2000s. I don't know if you remember it, called The Ruins.
Why does that sound familiar? Give me a
Did you go with us to watch that? It's like they go to a Mayan pyramid or whatever, and the plants fucking like start getting in their skin and stuff.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was trash, but it was like such a crazy concept.
I remember this DVD cover.
It kind of looks like the shit for The Descent. I guess like it looks like The Descent.
2008, so it's
box art.
I was too busy watching The Dark Knight and fucking Iron Man. You're talking about The Ruins over here.
One of us is a true horror fan. The other one's just a cinema buff.
Movie boy.
So with that out of the way, let's hop into talking about the directors. This film was directed and written by both Joma Balaguero, who also wrote and directed Rec 2 and 4 Apocalypse, and Paco Plaza, who went on to write and direct Rec 2 and Rec 3 Genesis, as well as Veronica, which I hope we get the chance to cover at some point.
Is that the Netflix movie from a couple years ago?
I think it was on there recently, and I added it to my list, but I think it's off at this point.
I think I watched it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's considered to be one of the better like possession type.
Oh yeah, especially recently. I would give it that mark.
So, did any of you happen to look at any of the sequels to this film?
I'm pretty sure I've seen.
I
the
started
second
watching
one.
Rec 2. I started watching Rec 2. I got like 5 minutes into it, and I just turned it off.
Okay.
I didn't go further than that for sure.
I skimmed through Rec 3 Genesis because it looked outrageous.
Because you wanted to see the genesis of the character.
It was terrible and outrageous. I can see why the director did not come back for the third film. It was pretty
Does it start
awful.
with the Big Bang? How much of a genesis are we talking about?
No, it starts. The whole movie's about a wedding, and the virus breaks out at a wedding, and that's the whole movie. Is them the groom and bride trying to survive inside of their wedding.
Okay.
And that's Genesis.
I got a general note about the movie. It was originally set to be released direct to video. I thought that was pretty interesting to think about how shitty direct to DVD movies are in the modern age, and how much quality we got out of this one. That was nice. Another note I thought was pretty cool here says the director originally toyed with the idea of following policemen instead of firemen, but they thought firemen would be more popular and accepted by the public, especially after the events of 9/11. So that's why we got to follow the firemen.
I had that same note about the policemen, and the firemen were so likable in this film.
Yeah, I mean they don't come in there with guns and tell people to get on the fucking ground.
Literally like trying to save a cat out of a tree.
Yeah, it's like a doctor with an axe.
The only other note that I had was that I found actually kind of fascinating as to why I feel, to go back to the nice comment of the viewer, of how this movie was so effective, was that the actors were never given the script in its entirety, so none of them knew of their characters' fates, sometimes not until the day they were actually filming their scenes. This meant that the actors were, more often than not, stressed, nervous, and apprehensive on the day of filming. Ideal qualities, obviously, to make a horror film with.
Yeah, I'll say that the structure of the movie, the way that they shoot it, how it's supposed to be naturalistic, I think it kind of lends to better acting, because it's like these people seem like they were civilians, like they just happened to be captured on camera. There was no like people waiting for each other to finish a sentence before you spoke. The shit that we kind of take for granted in watching movies now, because that's just not how the world works. It's chaos. It's people stepping over each other, like we often do on this fucking podcast. I think it just makes the acting has more pop to it. At least it did for me.
The only other note I got besides you guys, you pretty much covered everything that I had prepared. There were no sets created at all for this movie. I think the final scene had some dressing put up, obviously, as we'll see once we get there. But there were no sets created at all. Everything was shot on location.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely made pretty effective use of the location. There was a lot of shots, a lot of long shots. I feel like I had the blueprint of this fucking place down by the time we got to the end of it. It felt like a three-dimensional, production.
I would agree with that too, because I had a note I said I'd skipped over, but the longest shot in this film was 17 minutes long, which is it's just impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I actually looked up something similar. The average shot in the movie is 59 seconds long. Here's a bit of trivia for you. In the English language film world, what do you think the average shot length is? Keep in mind, average here was 59 seconds.
In the movie Quarantine?
In the entire English filmography, in the English language, every movie we've ever made.
Oh, it's going to be something pathetic,
what do you
like 25
think
seconds.
Is the average shot length?
It's something pathetic.
I mean, American action films are a joke as far as cutting. I'm going to say 15 seconds.
In 1930, it was 12 seconds. In the modern world, it is 2.5 seconds long.
That's fucking crazy. That's crazy, man.
Whoa.
2.5. Think about dialogue, how it's shot, and then immediately cut to the other actor. But yeah, this
Makes
movie,
sense.
a minute long every shot on average. It's pretty fucking
And
nuts.
then you throw in an Avengers for 3 hours, Chris, and every character's going to talk to each other.
You'll get literally 5 cuts in 2 seconds.
Wow.
Even in their action scenes, that's the worst of it. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. It was hard to find the cuts in some of this too. So I thought they were faking some of these shots because they were way too long, but legitimately 17-minute shot in there.
Well, you could tell some of them, like, they would bump into somebody,
Yeah.
and then the screen would, like, cut to black and shit like that. But it's very creative uses of the format that they're using to film to get those cuts in there to make it seem seamless, you know?
Right.
But yeah, to further expand on something you talked about earlier with the movie being slated to be like a direct to video, how badass of like a guerrilla marketing strategy would it have been to like hide cassettes of this movie all over like Barcelona and shit to where people would find them? I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't see like very many people with VHS players, but it still would have been like pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we all got kind of used to this with Blair Witch Project. But the Blair Witch Project, when it first came out, man, that was something else. People thought them people died.
Yeah, those actors were actually paid to not appear in public for 12 months after that movie came out.
That was all about that was all built up through marketing and shit.
They didn't get to go to the premiere.
It's quite impressive though. I mean, you know, it's not a great movie, but
it's a gimmick that obviously can't be repeated at this point. So now the thing is, if you release some actual footage, people are going to assume it's been faked. It's the opposite now. If someone tells me something is actually real, I'm going to assume it's probably not.
now you see a snuff film, you're like, oh, well, this is all fake.
All right, guys, we ready to jump into the actual story itself?
Let's go in.
¿Cómo está? Mira, mira los cajones. ¿Dónde coño están?
Tenemos que salir.
Aquí, aquí.
Our story begins in a local Spanish fire station where enthusiastic young television reporter Angela Vidal, played by Manuela Velasco, and her cameraman Pablo, played by Pablo Rosso, who is an actual cinematographer, shadow the night shift for a recurring segment about Barcelona after dark. It's here we meet Manu, played by Ferran Terraza, and Alex, played by David Vert, whom the television duo will be accompanying during the evening. During an uneventful night, the station alarm blares, and the crew, along with the 2 television personnel, head out to what seems to be a routine call: a person trapped in an apartment and in need of rescue. Now, were you guys aware that in this whole scene of them being in the fire station, the only 2 actors that were firemen were Manu and Alex?
No, there was a shitload of firefighters in there too. So this was like a legit functioning fire station?
Yeah, the rest were firemen.
Fucking A, that's pretty cool.
That's impressive. There were a lot of firemen. I was shocked when they walked into the dining room. I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of people.
Did you say her name was Angela Vidal?
Vidal.
So is that, I'm just putting this together. Maybe this is just Dragon Ball Z in my brain. Does her name mean Angel Devil?
I don't fucking know.
That's what I'm going to go with.
I didn't think to ask Raul that.
Fucking Vidal.
I quoted Raul I picked Raul's brain for a lot of research in this movie.
Appreciate the onboard interpreter, unpaid intern, Mr. Raul.
As one can imagine, firehouses aren't very exciting, as the first 20 minutes of this film pretty much laid out. I thought the firehouse scenes, if I had to critique this film, they could have cut down on some of the firehouse scenes.
Hootie, the movie is 80 minutes long.
I know we only got an hour of it inside of the apartment building. I wanted more apartment building over this fire bullshit.
I thought I was cool with it. I thought it was kind of interesting that they sleep in there and all kinds of shit, you know. Like, I guess where I'm from, I've never conceived of the fact of, like, firemen being at a fire station around the clock.
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. Totally fine with it. I mean, these type of movies, you have to build it up, just like with any other horror movie. You have to have a little bit of a little bit of slow pacing before like with a train. A train just go from fucking 0 to 60. You got to shovel coal in there. You got to build up fucking momentum. You got to get there. But once that motherfucker's going, just like with this movie, it's going to get to where it's going quick.
See, I'm a part of the new generation, Joy. 0 to 60 Elon Musk style in a Tesla.
Fuck
I
yeah,
need
man.
blood.
You talking about the bullet
He
train.
going
Blood
to
and
Mars,
guts.
baby.
First shot of the film, blood and guts, baby. Let's go.
So in 2022, because she has like a, I'm guessing like a publicly broadcasted channel or something. She's doing this while you were sleeping is the name of her
While you
program.
were asleep. Oh,
While you
yes.
were asleep, excuse me. Is the name of like her TV thing. So in 2022, what is this? Is this like an Instagram feed or some shit? Just curious how this would translate to today. If you were doing a show like this, how would you do it? Is it a YouTube channel?
I feel like it could be on CW. Come on. I mean, we could put this on some kind of a shitty
Nobody
network.
watching. I mean, what the hell? What are you watching at 2:00 in the morning? Real sex. on
CW.
HBO.
That's what I did get. I did get kind of a real sex or like David Tell's Insomnia show from this.
Insomnia. That was a great
I forgot
show.
about that show. Is he dead?
Nah,
David
he's
Tell
out
is
there.
still living.
He's still funny.
Oh
too,
shit! I
man.
thought he was gone, bro.
He's still funny, man.
In the lobby of the apartment complex, we find some residents who reported hearing a reclusive elderly woman screaming in her flat. Assuming she fell and hurt herself, the firemen and a couple of on-site policemen break into the locked apartment with Angela and Pablo close behind. Inside, they find the woman, Conchetta, covered in blood and behaving oddly, shrieking and moving erratically. Before the first responders are able to calm the senora down, she attacks one of the policemen, biting into his neck and tearing out a massive chunk before she's pulled away. Manu and the remaining policemen carry their comrade away down the stairwell and back into the lobby, the gaping wound in his throat pouring blood.
Gaping.
It's here we discover the rest of the residents in a panic as the front door has been sealed. A voice booms with the help of a bullhorn, informing everyone inside that the health authorities are quarantining the building for the time being.
He did it.
Isolating it and the occupants within.
So obviously that word has a different power now than it did when we watched Quarantine.
No, not at all.
in
Nothing's
2008.
happened.
Literally typed quarantine expecting the movie to pop up. There wasn't a single fucking movie on that page.
Here are your
It
CDC
was literally
recommendations.
COVID protocols.
It's funny how like that word was so like I guess to me at the time was just like foreign and weird, you know. Like like I had to look it up because there was like there's like different levels of protection from the viruses, right? Like what's a pandemic? What's a epidemic? What's a quarantine? But now it's just so fucking. There's 6th graders who can tell you more about this shit than I can now. It's pretty
You
wild.
got the handbook now, buddy.
It's pretty wild what can happen in 10 years.
I remember watching this film when it came out and being like, "This is outrageous. This would never happen in real life." And
There's no way the government's going to force these people inside of this building.
no way.
They
I will
did
not
it without
stand for
guns,
this.
Hootie. They locked you up without a fucking gun. What does that tell you about yourself?
I'm sick, depraved.
You should have bought that
so-
rocket launcher, man.
Oh God, harken back to News 5. To go back to the beginning before they go into the old lady's apartment of an old lady, I do not remember what name Joy just said. I didn't know she even had a name.
Conchita.
Conchita.
Okay. The backwards shot of Pablo following everybody up the steps was fantastic.
Yeah, it's good work.
I don't know how he did it.
I know Joy threw out there that this guy was a cinematographer. I had a question here. Do you hire an actor to play Pablo? If you were making this movie, would you have hired an actor to play him?
Not at all.
I don't know why you
There's
would.
no reason to have an actor in this situation, right? So I didn't know he was a
Yeah.
cinematographer. I was just curious if there was an actor behind the camera, and if so, I didn't see the
guess-
fucking point.
He does talk, but it's not anything.
Oh, he's just really feeding or reacting to Angela. Is it Angela?
Angela,
Yeah, it's Angela.
Angela.
I really enjoyed
Yeah,
the effect
something like
of Conchita biting the police officer's neck. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
It's really weird to see an older woman in bloody panties in the dark, like twitching for 5 minutes. It'll make anybody uncomfortable.
To go back to you talking about Pablo being a cameraman, just imagine being in that situation. If this wasn't an actual cameraman, it was an actor holding the camera, because he's literally holding the camera the entire
Right.
time. like trying to film this, because he's still able to like frame the action for the most part, even while all this crazy shit's going on.
How did they record sound? Is this all in-camera sound?
Now you're getting
Yeah, I
too
think
deep,
so.
Chris. Way to be a dick.
No, I think it really is.
I'd be saying that's difficult, man. That's especially if you're talking about 17-minute shots. You don't want to fuck that up.
Like, there's plenty of like found footage movies that break like the found footage rules and have like multiple fucking camera angles and shit strung around. And I don't feel like this is one of those movies. I think this is definitely like a true to form, by the book, found footage film.
But the audio quality was
So
great.
I feel like they would use. I feel like they would use like the actual camera itself.
But there's no way you can have like a boom arm in the situation with how frenetic the camera is. Because there's no way you wouldn't capture it somewhere, you know. I'm just curious.
The actors could have worn mics.
That's true. I don't know. If Angela had one on, I would have seen it, bro.
This is very true.
Well, I feel like early in the movie they actually have Manu and Alex both mic'd up, like during their interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on a revisit now if we can hear like audio depth based on those particular people that we know that Pablo had interviewed and were mic'd up.
Panic ensues as the people within plead for answers, and the wounded officer continues to bleed out. The now stranded group scrambles to find a way out just as a body falls from the stairs above, splattering onto the floor below. The other fireman, Alex, lies limp on the ground, blood pooling around him from a bite wound on his cheek as the group scream in horror. Barely alive and clinging to life, the residents try and stabilize the broken man as the surviving cop and fireman head upstairs to look for the person responsible for Alex's fall, with the television duo following after. The four stumble upon a dying Colombian woman, another bite victim of the old hermit, who tries to attack the group once more before she's shot dead, seemingly dead, by the lone policeman. In this scene right here, they actually didn't tell the actors that Alex was going to be thrown down the stairs. So their like reactions were like genuine for the most part.
Legitimate jump scare.
It was very effective. I don't know how they did it because it looked pretty damn real to me.
Yeah, it was a good splat.
I love the way they shot it.
Did they cut
the way
there?
they shot it was fantastic.
By the time they got to him, there was a person laying there.
Like you heard it. You saw it off
Over
to the
shoulder,
side of the
yeah.
camera. Yeah, and heard it more than anything. So it's not like they had it framed up at all. It just happened.
But there's no way that was a human being hitting the ground, you know.
No, not at all.
But I feel like the camera got there, but without cutting, and it was a human being laying there at that point. It seemed like it, at least.
Yeah.
It's a pretty creative movement off camera, maybe.
And we're supposed to believe that he survived this, which is wild.
I'm shocked that he and the initial policeman are on the board after like 30 minutes. I thought they were both like instant dead.
Well, I feel like he only fell down 2 flights of stairs.
Face first on the concrete.
That's a hell of a fall, but I don't think it would like straight up kill you unless you landed on your head.
But this looked
he
like
landed flat.
200-year-old Spanish marble he fell on. This shit looked really fucking hard.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hard. Like hell, even if you fall into the fucking lake from that distance, it's going to hurt.
Let's just agree that Alex was in quite a bit of pain.
Alex.
Oh yeah, he was on his way out.
Alex didn't have a nice trip.
Like Alex wasn't
We'll
wasn't going to
fall.
get up and fucking cross Angela up on the goddamn basketball court like he did back at the fireman's station.
So what was he doing upstairs with the older lady? They left him up there to like monitor her or something?
Well, no, I think he was up there trying to restrain her. At this point, they don't think anything is wrong outside of her being like hysterical.
I guess that's the difference between Alex and me is all my homeboys leave. I'm getting the fuck out of there too, you know.
He's just a nice
Yeah,
fella.
I mean, you think about it. Like you got this frail older woman.
She wasn't frail,
and
dog.
a fucking,
Frail, that was a big ass linebacker.
What would be conceived as a frail older woman and a professionally trained fireman? Who do you think is going to be able to, hold? I guess they wouldn't hold him down because it's kind of like a medical emergency.
Right.
Like you'd probably think she would hurt herself if she was being held down.
So I guess this is kind of, I'm sure this wasn't intentional, but you see, if we're saying Alex's approach was to help this woman up until almost the point of his own death, we get the cop up there who instantly takes care of the situation with a pistol.
Oh,
So
yeah.
shut this shit
once
down.
there's like 3 victims, because at this point there's 3 victims of this old lady, then it's like, all right, this you can't do nothing with this bitch. Time to go.
You off the board, baby. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of ironic. We were talking about how firemen tested so much more favorably versus policemen specifically. And then you kind of have the dichotomy of the way these two men approach the same situation. It's interesting.
So the Columbia woman is just there by just randomness. There's no reason.
She's just a tenant.
Yeah, she was the
this-
neighbor,
this is-
right? I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the lobby, hysteria continues as the booming voice informs those inside that they will soon be visited by a health inspector, as they've been secluded in accordance with BNC protocol, which stands for biological, nuclear, and chemical sort of threat situations. To make matters worse, all cellular, radio, and televised communication to the outside world has been cut off, leaving them in the metaphorical dark. Devising a plan of escape, several of the marooned head to the apartment offices in an attempt to access the second-floor patio and leap to safety. It is through these large windows that they see fully armored and masked members of Spain's special forces, who threaten violence against any who attempt to flee the building, just as they drop a large barrier and seal off that exit as well. The escape party, dejected and on edge, head back downstairs to regroup.
Right after we learn about the BNC threat, we learn that the mother with the daughter named Jennifer is sick.
Jennifer.
And I don't know about you boys, but it's time to take the kid out. Okay,
I like Jennifer. She's might be my favorite character.
you gotta take her out, man. Okay,
She had a really cool fucking voice for a little kid, man.
Yeah, she was a very cute little kid.
But it was like a deep, gravelly voice almost, you know.
Well, she was supposed to be sick. I don't know.
They said
how they got her
acting
talking
for a
about
child.
Yeah,
They said she had what, tonsillitis or
that's
something
what
like that?
the mother tried to say. Yeah,
Does that cause you to cough up blood? Because she had like blood and shit on her lips.
very,
Kids can get really sick with that shit.
very infected tonsils.
I like to talk about my dog Max. I was like, oh fuck.
He got really sick. He went to the vet.
She sounded like literally she'd just been chain smoking for the last 5 years of her life.
I wonder how they got her to talk like that. That is a good point that you brought up, though.
It was good.
I think they literally gave her tonsillitis before.
That was half the budget. We had to get an injection of tonsillitis into this little girl.
Something else they forgot to tell the actors about.
By the way, there's a real disease here. We all have to really literally quarantine after we're done shooting this. Thought it was pretty effective too how they showed that they were surrounded and you never saw anything. You know, you never saw out of the building once we were in it, because they literally just like dropped the tarps over the windows and it was all spotlights and shadows. It was very what's the word I'm looking for here? Claustrophobic, I think, the way they literally wrapped him in a big old condom and told him that they were going to kill him if they came out.
And that's another point about quarantine, though. Like, watch this movie in 2009. They would never wrap a building up like this in plastic, and we saw that, you know. So it's really interesting.
Fucking animals. Yeah, we kind of are.
That's the thing in the American remake. You know, there wouldn't nobody stay in that motherfucker.
No,
these
they have
people
rocket
ain't gonna
launchers and
listen
shit.
to authority.
I mean, what is it? If you're sitting there, you're a military man, you got your assault rifle peeking in it, and you see a man with a fucking rocket launcher pointed through a window, I'm done. Fuck it. Let him out.
I know it's easy to say, but I feel like in any of these situations, you have to go back to the mindset of Shane in The Walking Dead, John Barenthal, of just,
Johnny.
just take him out, man.
Save one, baby.
That's it.
It's the classic running from the bear, right? I don't have to outrun the bear, I have to outrun you.
Luckily, one of the residents happens to be an interning physician who is finally able to stabilize both Alex and the injured policeman thanks to some medical supplies from his room. Angela, along with Pablo, continues to document the events and interviews several tenants, an elderly couple, an Asian family minus their bedridden grandfather, a mother, and her 7-year-old named Jennifer, who misses her ailing dog Max, and the suave gentleman Cesar, all in an attempt to gather as much information about what was going on prior to their arrival and what could have led to their current situation. Soon after, the health inspector dressed in a biohazard suit arrives to draw blood from all those quarantined inside, starting with the bitten. The doctor, the inspector, as well as the remaining policeman and Manu, head to the makeshift infirmary, barring anyone else from entry. Angela and her cameraman are able to peep inside from a nearby window, watching in horror as the once dying bite victims spring to life and aggressively attack their rescuers, thrashing and gnashing, just like Conchetta. All are able to escape the gruesome scene except the intern, who they leave trapped behind a roll-up door with the infected. The health inspector informs the rest of the group of what led to their current predicament. A dog at a vet's office with an unknown disease that went from being comatose to what can only be described as hyper-rabid, attacking every other pet in that same clinic. The sickness then spread to those animals, evidently through the host's saliva. Eventually the pet was subdued after many tranquilizers and put to sleep, with the chip in its ear leading the authorities to the apartment building they are currently trapped in. That dog's name was Max.
Max. Damn it, Jennifer. This is like the part of the movie where I began to question Pablo's sanity. Peeping through that fucking window, shooting the whole attack on these other grown-ass men, and he just has no fucking reaction to it.
He's just trying to document this shit, man.
I know, I understand the angle. They kept reiterating it, but at some fucking point, you gotta be a human being.
Don't stop fucking recording, Chris. Don't stop
that's
fucking
the thing.
recording.
It's like, you're trapped in this fucking building. What else are you gonna do?
Fucking hide, dog. That's what I'm gonna do.
There's nowhere to hide. Where are you gonna hide?
Be an American Joy. Find a gun.
I'm gonna be camping
It's
in the
Spain.
corner.
There's no guns in Spain.
Fucking knock out the cop and to take his gun.
Were they gonna get a fucking? Were they gonna get a damn a fucking bullfighting sword or some shit?
It helps. Anything helps.
Yes.
Whatever's legal. Get a fucking Rambo knife. Whatever's legal.
With that information dump, this kind of leads to all eyes on Jennifer, right?
All eyes on me.
I have a dog named Max, and he got very sick. I want to see fucking the Max prequel. That's what the fuck I want to see. That's what they need to focus on.
Jennifer, you sound like a little bit of Satan there.
Well, it's a very bad day.
So go back to the doctor. I'm sorry, the intern trying to play doctor. Who the fuck has this many medical supplies just laying around? He had syringes. He had apparently morphine.
Nice fucking guy. Well, they had it.
And
It's
then
an
he's-
infirmary, right?
Is it?
Well, I don't think No, it's not that. We learned that he actually is like kind of the off-duty manager of the building.
Yeah, he's like the
So
RA,
he has
right?
That's
yeah,
where the
he has
keys are.
access to like a lot of like supplies and shit throughout the building because he has like the keys to certain rooms and
Oh, does he?
Are there a lot
Yeah,
of needles in apartment complexes? That's a good question.
Maybe in Spain.
What's the thing? He's an intern for a physician.
You
So
just
he's
bring
like,
needles and shit home?
He's not like an official doctor, but he works in a fucking hospital.
He's just practicing on himself, trying that sweet heroin. You know how it goes.
I think they inject fruits. That's like that's the training protocol.
But he's doing some real Herbert West shit by shoving this syringe right into the skull
Ugh,
of
that
Alex.
cheekbone. Yeah, that was rough.
I'm not sure that's where you're supposed to stick the needle at.
I got a little queasy on that one.
A hell of a shot, though. Pablo got very close to that cheek. Very close.
Pablo had more guts and balls than any
He's-
cameraman I've ever seen.
Hold on, Mr. Intern. Let me zoom in. Okay. Now
Cut.
inject.
All right, do it again.
Good job.
Yeah, at this point, there's really nothing to be afraid of outside because they think, or from what Pablo saw, because Pablo the whole time is filming everything that's happened thus far. The person that was the threat is neutralized. They're no longer a threat.
So we think we're just in damage control.
So he's just documenting like what's going on because I think in his mind this is like a career defining, career making thing they're filming.
He's putting this shit on Facebook.
for both him and Angela.
Angela definitely thinks that's the case.
Take advantage, man. Take advantage.
Her interviewing Caesar was creepy as hell.
Nah,
Caesar's
Caesar.
a creepy
Caesar.
fucker.
Caesar be throwing it, man.
They punked his ass, though. Didn't let him get primped or anything.
So there was a piece of Caesar's story that connects to the director. Caesar brought up the fact that he lived next door to the Asian family, and the Asian family never closed their door and like alluded to them being like nasty or something like that. The director said that story was true from his childhood, that in his apartment building, his neighbors were Chinese, and they always left the door open, and it always creeped him out.
Always smelled like fish.
Which is kind of a weird, creepy thing to like always leave your front door open. It's, strange.
As if on cue, the little girl, still in her mother's arms, throws up blood into her madre's face and breaks free, but not before letting out a blood-curdling scream and bolting upstairs. The mother frantically tries to follow after, but is subdued by the others. Unable to calm her down, the policeman cuffs her to the staircase, and he, as well as Manu and Pablo, once again head upstairs to try and rescue the Asian family's patriarch before he too becomes infected by the child. The trio soon discover that the bodies of the old lady and the Colombian woman are no longer there, but they do find Jennifer and try to pacify her with a sedative. This plan goes horribly, resulting in the policeman being bitten and deserted, but not before Manu knocks the reanimated crone out as he tries to ambush he and Pablo. Back downstairs, all hell breaks loose just as the men make their way down, the infected trapped behind the steel roll-up door breaking free and attacking the helpless mom chained to the staircase. The uninfected scatter, and a few are able to barricade themselves in a room safe from the violence outside, only to find that one of them, the health inspector, has been bitten. He isolates himself and begs the others to flee. Cesar, the suave gentleman, devises a plan to escape through a locked basement with the key inside the intern's room. Before they can put the plan into motion, Cesar is attacked by the now crazed health inspector and left to fend for himself. The three survivors, Manu, Pablo, and Angela, are able to locate the intern's apartment just before the power in the building is cut, and after fighting off several attacks by the newly infected by camera light, they bust down the door into his abode and are able to locate the keys with Manu standing guard outside. Pablo and Angela exit the apartment to find that Manu has also turned. They race upstairs to an abandoned penthouse, narrowly managing to escape the horrors below and lock themselves within.
So you said that she spit blood in her mom's face. I took it that she bit her face. Is that not?
She spit blood in her face.
Spit all over that lady's face.
Because she was like instantaneously like demonic after that.
Oh, as soon as they fucking said that the dog's name is Max, everybody in there turned and looked at Jennifer and her mom, and like right then she just spat the blood in her face and just like took off.
It was the only
it's great
like tricky effect shot that I didn't really love. Because they go behind somebody's shoulder, I think, to set up the shot, and then she's kind of near the mom's face, and then she's not. It's just, I don't know, it played out kind of awkwardly. But I do like Jennifer going straight fucking Chucky, giving like the little cat screech and then running up the stairs. It was really fucking cool.
It's definitely like, it makes you feel super uneasy rewatching the movie and seeing how close she's holding her like the entire time.
Yeah, it feels
when
like
you know
weird.
And you know what's about to happen. You know, like the whole time she could have just like bit into her.
That's love.
I said that is love. And then Jennifer upstairs in the apartment was like, that was some of the best shit for me, man. I thought it was great.
That was so stupid. Why?
When she was standing there with like the spots and shit on her face, and they got like really close to her. It was really fucking creepy, man.
And the cop just holding his hand out. I was just like, this is the dumbest thing. I mean, I get why he did it in the film, but it's like...
Then the Manu dropping the old lady in the face was a fucking great shot as well.
Yeah, what did he hit with like a sledge or some
Yeah,
shit?
just straight up. Wow.
Yeah.
And she's like all loud, crazy and shit. Silence. Drop.
That's a really good shot. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a fake sledge. Has to be. But I cannot see a Sledge anymore now without thinking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sledge just works better, you know? Earlier, I'm not sure I brought it up, but the hazmat doctor, or whatever he was, talked about how this disease is transferred through saliva, but also, that part's not new, but this part I think is kind of new to me, probably not in the grand scheme of the genre, but the reaction time depends on the blood type.
I didn't catch that.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, that's a new spin on it. And
yeah, if you watch Rec 2 within the first 5 minutes, you'll it's what turned me off to the movie. But what you say, I guess, would make what happens in that movie make sense. But yeah,
okay.
So they're expounding on that idea.
I don't know if they are or not. To be honest with you,
to be determined in the Rec 2.
Just throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Pretty much.
Which means that whatever blood type the hazmat guy had was instantaneous.
Shit happens, man.
Because he locks himself up, and then Caesar, like a dumbass that he is, stands in front of it, and that dude instantly turned into an infected person.
I liked Manu's transformation the most. He creeped me the fuck out. When they were looking down the banisters.
Yeah, I wish we'd have got more Manu.
He got like the face up like that. Pretty.
You know what that kind of put me in mind of? The scene from 28 Days Later.
Oh, the
when
staircase.
they're trying to get up the staircase,
Yeah,
and they're being chased by the zombies.
Danny Boyle, shout out.
And then in the same conversation, Manu changed super quick because he was guarding the door. They weren't in there that long.
Manu had that hot blood. You couldn't tell, man.
It might just be based on like muscle.
He was sweating.
If you got a lot of
his ass
muscles or some shit, because you know Manu is jacked.
Manu said, "I can fuck her, I can fight. It don't matter to me." I liked
Pablo, do you want to guard the door and I'll go in with her? I got a film, Manu. Damn.
I got the sledge though, Pablo. And to this point, as we've illustrated, Pablo has done jack shit to help anyone else.
He does, yeah. I picked up on that specifically in the apartment.
He's not interacting with any of the
he's
objects.
Just filming her struggle to find these
offering a
keys.
hand or anything. But that's some hellacious camera work, man.
And not at one point does Angela ever say, Pablo, can you help me? Like, even she understands his role.
Yeah, she's like inches away from death, and she's like, "Get the shot, Pablo."
Well, at this point, he's kind of integral to her actually being able to find the keys because the power's been cut. Yeah. There's no source of like light whatsoever. Yeah. So him holding the cameras, as you can see,
it's a good pivot when they go to the flashlight on the camera.
Yeah, he's serving his role. He's doing what he's supposed to.
But he doesn't necessarily have to hold it up to his eye. He can kind of.
What's he gonna do? Like
he's got two hands, man.
Behind it? Is he gonna look in the fucking dark?
He can punch somebody with his free hand
while he's shining the light on what she's looking at.
Also, would love to know what kind of camera this is because that thing has a hellacious battery life.
Inside the penthouse, they find themselves surrounded with what appears to be chemicals and chemistry apparatuses, and countless newspaper clippings about a Portuguese girl believed to be possessed. There's also many Catholic religious objects and imagery, as well as biological and scientific documents. Angela is able to find a tape recorder on it, and on it, a man recounts his efforts to contain and cure the possessed girl of her ailment, only to admit failure and having to euthanize the girl. He comments that he has sealed her away, and if that seal fails, then disaster will surely follow. Looking for a way to freedom, Angela and Pablo discover a hatch leading to an attic. Peeking through, Pablo is attacked but not bitten, and his camera light is broken in the process. Now in complete darkness with only the camera's night vision to guide them, the duo stumble around in the dark, seeking refuge from the terrors within the penthouse. A monstrous, pale, and slender figure makes its way through the penthouse, and the lone survivors huddle in fear, trying their best to keep from making a sound. Unable to do so in the crowded apartment, the creature finds them as they try one last time to make their retreat, only for Pablo to be bludgeoned with the hammer to his untimely death, and Angela to be dragged away to her assumed demise. And roll credits.
That's what you think happened to Angela.
Roll credits. So ends 2007's Wreck.
So I got a question. This is a bit confusing for me. The person we saw in the attic space and whatever was walking around that room are not the same thing.
No. You don't actually find out what happened in this situation until like Wreck 3, I think.
So there's more here.
Like it goes into detail.
Because there's a reference to this little girl who's been possessed. She might be patient 0, and I assume that's the person that's locked up in that attic.
Yeah, the one that's actually
and it's a small
walking
child.
around.
That is not a small child. I don't know what the fuck
That's
that
not a
thing
small
is.
The thing in the attic?
That is something
Terrifying. There's something in the attic, and then there was something in the apartment, which was far more terrifying to me.
Seeing as how we won't get to Wreck 3 for probably years, I'll go ahead and tell you. The thing in the attic is a kid that this guy was experimenting on to try to find a cure for
the girl in the attic.
For the girl that's
Jesus.
walking around the attic.
So who was the
And
guy?
That was a girl.
No, who was the
man
guy
left.
doing all this?
He locked him up and fucking left.
My man.
Oh, yeah, he was.
My man.
Well, he didn't leave.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell you
Always
what
getting into
happened.
the spoilers
We're-
here.
Okay,
Getting
now
into
we're going
canon.
like-
Eventually,
Now we're
we'll
going
eventually get to
subreddit
that
here.
Once we get to Wreck.
At the end of this one, we're
But-
told that he just said, shit can't be cured. I'm locking these bitches up, and I'm getting out of town.
Pretty much that's what happened. But I just want to explain so we don't have like a fucking there was a thing in the attic and it wasn't really explained because it wasn't. I mean, it was there and it was. I don't think there was a planned sequel.
Just make sure I didn't miss out on
But-
something.
Yeah, it's but yeah, like you said, the white figure, that was what we discovered to be Nina Medeiros, played by one of our favorites, Javier Botet.
I was gonna say, is that him
I think-
again? That's the mama
I think
guy.
we actually talked about that in the Mama episode.
God, this dude has the
Um,
fucking creepiness to him.
He's so fucking creepy, right? But what's funny about this, I think I actually referred to him as the Spanish Doug Jones, right?
Right, yeah.
During that episode. Ironically enough, Doug Jones plays a similar character in the American remake Quarantine.
Oh my God. You serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
What's funny is I saw
Good
that
for Doug
first.
Jones.
I have zero remembrance of what their final creature looked like. This one, I could have drawn a fucking picture for you without you having
Yeah.
to show this to me again.
This one's kind of singed.
The one in this movie had tits.
Yeah, I
The
know.
other one didn't.
And a fucking diaper, pretty much. Yeah,
That's why I
remember.
knew it was a woman.
Yeah, the other one's a man.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I don't even fucking remember that.
Do you see his like penis swinging around? Like, how you know it's a man?
It doesn't have tits. That and he's credited as like thin man or some shit in Quarantine.
When it actually catches up to Pablo and takes him out, that shit was terrifying, man.
Yeah, it was
'Cause
pretty.
the blows were like coming down on us as we're watching it.
Yeah, it was fantastic the way they filmed that.
Pablo to the end, man, kept recording. You know,
So much kept her in frame. I was
kept recording.
like, this dude deserves a fucking Oscar.
This is
You
just
really
going to
feel
happen
like
to me.
you really feel like somebody is like being beaten and fucking stunned with a hammer.
Yeah, and then the sound
Like
when
while
they're
they're
playing with
holding
the
the
in-camera audio kind of just intensifies that whole feeling.
Good for Pablo, my man. To the end, man. The Titanic sinking. He plays it damn violin.
I did read this was all shot in complete darkness with infrared cameras, so actors could not really see each other. They were doing like legitimately feeling around and trying to react to the noise as opposed to what we saw, which is fucking terrifying.
Wait a minute. The guy that I don't remember his name, the Doug Jones Spanish version,
Is
and
acting
all
in
that
the dark.
and all that makeup also cannot see.
Yes.
That's impressive.
I mean,
Good for
imagine
him.
It adds to the fucking creepiness of it, you know.
Yeah.
He's literally like walking around with this hammer and just like bumping
Yeah, just
into
whipping his
shit.
head around to noises and shit. Terrifying.
Wow.
Well, I think as an actor, he probably familiarized himself with that room too beforehand. You know, just getting into character. The character has been in this room for
There's a lot of shit in
God
there.
knows how long. You know.
I think this is of the stuff we've covered. This is one of the best monsters, villains, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if we want to call this humanoid or what it is, but
Yeah, that's the thing. I was actually trying to find out who it was that did the costume for, or the makeup.
The effects work, yeah.
I couldn't find the exact person. Just because this being like what's considered a foreign film, it's a little bit harder for us to know these actors and know these actual like crew members. But whoever did that, kudos. That was really good work.
I think it's a great example of the tried and true method of you don't have to show the monster, but so much. In recent memory, like the remake of It, killed Pennywise in my opinion.
Yeah, it was way too much Pennywise.
And even in a newer film like Black Phone, Ethan Hawke is in it way too much. So,
from the trailer, the only thing I would want to see about that movie is Ethan Hawke.
He's in it a lot, so you can watch it.
He just looks like he would be really good as that creepy character. I'm gonna have to watch this shit sometime.
He is until he isn't, because it's just too much.
I got one last note here about some alternate endings. You guys aware of these? There were 2 more.
Pablo saves the day, beats the shit out of it with his own camera.
That would have been badass, but no. One alternate ending had Angela leaving the attic and being attacked by Ms. Izquierdo, the old lady. And another one was her going downstairs in the dark, trying to make it through the infected residents. They're like in a numb state, apparently. And she just gets killed by one of them before she can get out. So
that would have
chose
scary.
the right one.
I like the one they did, but that would have been the first one sucked. That sounds fucking terrible. But the second one in the numb state, that actually sounded like terrifying.
They were all 3 of those were shot, to my understanding. Hold on a second. Thinking on that, how the fuck was the camera in play for those endings?
She can't see. She has to have something to see, so it's probably from her perspective.
But I thought it was pretty fucked up after Pablo got his skull bashed in.
No. It still worked. Like I don't think the audio worked.
Or anything?
No, the audio worked because you heard her breathing.
Yeah, that's true. And you got the shot down her shirt. It was very memorable.
Baby. That's what my man was talking about in that review.
Very memorable.
I watched an hour and 20 minutes for this. Hell yeah.
Beautiful woman.
I think we could have got a third option, Chris. That could have been she escapes the room and Max shows up for that final kill. We finally see Max.
All right, boys. Strap your camcorders. That wraps up Wreck from 2007. Shout out to our Spanish-speaking folks. Keep making good shit. All right, kiddos, what piece of memorabilia are you taking home from the goodie store that is Record from 2007?
That beautiful painting of the Virgen de Guadalupe in the penthouse. It would look beautiful. It would look so good adjacent to my painting of a sheep being murdered and torn to shreds from my last episode.
Oh, yes, you are quite the artist lover in this
gallery
show
going here.
Yeah. So the one I chose, I really wanted to choose the camera, but we never saw what kind of damn camera it was to even choose. So
that's meta, Hootie.
Ix that one. Mine was kind of boring. I was going to take that microphone that Angela used in the beginning of the movie with that 5 inches of foam on the microphone.
You do a whole lot with that, man.
Yeah, I could be my new podcast mic.
5 inches, you say? For me, I went personal. I went to the heart. There's one shot in this movie, I'm sure you noticed, after Jennifer plays with the camera, we get a perfectly clear shot of Pablo's Van skater shoes. Back in the day, they used to make them really fucking good. So, give me a pair. Give me that Pablo's Vans. Take them right off his dead body.
I think those were fucking Avias.
They look like Vans to me, so I'm gonna put it in that part of my brain as a sentimental footwear. All right, fellas, that's it. Let's get to the grade books here. Stamp some big, bold letter grades on Wreck from 2007. Hootie, why don't you lead us off, my man?
Why not? Wreck was a fantastic rewatch. After stepping away from this franchise after the horrendous American adaptation, it just really ruined me for watching anything Wreck 2, 3, or 4, although I did skim through 3 recently, which was regrettable. It was well acted and possibly the best POV horror film, in my opinion. And yes, Joey, that is even over Cloverfield, your beloved horror film.
Mm.
With that, I give Wreck from 2009 an A. Get out and watch this film. It's worth it.
All right, I'll hop in here since Joey picked this bad boy. We'll let him end this on his own note. This was everything I remembered. The 3 S's of good horror. It was short, it was sweet, and it was scary. The found footageness of it seemed to hold up, something I did not expect in 2022. The lead is charming. Pablo is kind of useless, but charming in his own way. And everyone else truly seemed to just be themselves, which I think kind of lent to the atmosphere. No time is wasted here, with every few beats pretty much punctuated with a cool effect or some kind of shocking sequence, or a cool long camera shot. What I always refer to as just the attic is still terrifying to me, and a fitting end to a genuinely good, scary movie. I'm going to give Record an A-.
All right, that leaves me. So yeah, one of my favorite zombie-esque movies ever. I obviously have a hard-on for found footage style movies, as Hootie said, Cloverfield, The Blair Witch Project, Cannibal Holocaust, and Wreck definitely tickles my pickle in that regard. It's visceral and raw, starting off slow as most found footage horror films do, but once the chaos starts, it never stops. It's immersive and feels genuine, whether it's the characters and their reactions, the motivations of Angela and Pablo. Nothing feels forced or out of place, and that's something that is very important for a found footage film to work. It feels real. And the last 20 minutes is some of the most intense and terrifying stuff I've ever seen on screen, period. Now, with that said, if you're not a fan of found footage, Rick will do little in the way of changing your opinion. The camera work is going to be shaky and nauseating. The sound is going to be abrasive and jarring. It's going to look like shit from a video quality standpoint. And there's going to be filler, although I enjoy that stuff personally. But 2007's Wreck never fails to impress after each viewing, and more than earns what it deserves, an A.
Damn. Kind of shocked we ended up on an A average. It did not seem like it was going to be an A movie.
That was quite the love letter to Wreck there.
Yeah, man. I will say the first time I watched this, obviously, was on VOD because I wasn't in Spain in 2007 when this came out.
What a
we were
loser.
living in that old house. And you remember in my room, I had like the little push up to the attic there. That shit always fucked with me.
Yeah,
Thinking
that's
about
fucking scary, bro.
Pablo sticking his little camera up in the crawl space there. That shit was in my crawl for a while.
And you had that creepy door on the wall that led into the
within the
inside of
closet thing.
Your walls of your house. You had a really creepy house, man.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. But yeah, that Record specifically stuck with me for a while after watching it. But that wraps her up, closing the grade books. Let's recap what we thought this would land at on Rotten Tomatoes. As far as the audience fan scores were concerned, I'll start with myself, the low man. This week, I dropped a 70 piece, followed by Joey at a 75, and Mr. Hootie at an 81. The audience score from Rotten Tomatoes is an 82.
Oh,
shit.
Almost
How
on the
about that?
nose, Hootie.
Dude, that was almost a hole in one, bro.
You almost did it, bro.
But I did do it.
You freaking did.
Phantasm 4, here we go!
Oh, don't you tempt me with a good time. I will pick Pumpkinhead one day, Joy, but today is not the day for Pumpkinhead.
The day he hits it on the nose is the Pumpkinhead day.
I'm holding Pumpkinhead until Joy really pisses me off.
Oh, yeah, motherfucker wants to make me watch some dumb shit. Yeah, let's go. So, yeah, buddy, the ball is in your court.
Okay, so after heavy thought, as it's been a while since I've actually won something. You know, I'm not very good at this game. I'm going to go with a 2007 film directed by Frank Darabont and starring Thomas Jane.
I know what we're watching.
And with that, we're going to be watching, fellas, The Mist.
The Mist.
Dude, I fucking love The Mist. Holy shit.
It's such a good movie.
Did this get a remake recently or a
All the
series or something?
creatures and shit.
It got a horrible, I think it was a sci-fi series.
Nice.
Yeah. Where shows go to die.
All right, folks, if you want to play along, you can hop on YouTube. We're going to watch the official trailer for The Mist from 2007. Let's go. Restricted, you say? Oh,
Goddamn window.
MGM.
Whoa. Mom, Dad, you gotta come see.
Have we seen anything from
So
MGM?
fast. You just gotta come on. Whoa.
Having spoken, the doomsayer departs.
Look at Thomas.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Who the hell is he
God,
married to?
I'm gonna be
Why don't you
fucking
Billy dress?
creaming
I'll take him
all
to town.
over like the
The
creatures
store
and stuff.
before it
in
gets all
this.
bought out.
How do you folks hold up in the storm?
Oh shit, that's the
Big
Walking Dead
insurance
lady.
thing.
Yes, it
Sorry
is.
to hear that.
There's a lot of Walking Dead in here.
Ah, Darabont did The Walking Dead too.
Yes, it did.
Mosquitoes. Where are they?
Is there some more quarantine shit here?
In a way, yes.
Have you read the book, Hootie?
I have. It's very short.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a novella.
The only way we're going to help ourselves is to seek rescue.
Tie this around your waist.
Before.
Let us know you got at least 300 feet.
Isn't that like a CSI guy or something?
He was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I guess the joke would be on me.
I guess the joke is on him.
Oh shit. Yeah, this one is. Spoiler alert on that guy.
It is time to take sides. Read
is
the
a
good
long
book. It
trailer.
calls for blood.
Guys, I hear something.
Those bugs? Not like any I've ever seen. The entire front of this store is plate glass.
There's a gremlin!
How's that a flip phone?
What were you guys messing with up there?
I thought that there were other dimensions. They wanted to try and make
Can
a
this
window.
like stop already?
Your window turned out to be a door.
Why is this fucking trailer still going?
Sacrifice to make it all better.
This is way too much, man. I'm going to advise the audience to not watch the trailer.
The Mist.
Wow, that's Jesus.
Where the fuck were you at November 21st, dude?
I saw that in theaters with my mother.
Oh, that's charming.
Watching The Mist, that's where I was.
There is a scene, I'm going to talk about it now, in this film that really disturbed me when I saw this when it first came out. They talk about, there's a small group of them, and they say, has anybody here have any experience with shooting guns? And Thomas Jane just says nothing. And at the time, he had been the Punisher, so it's like, good God.
Wow. What a disappointment.
What a shit show.
Fucking chode. All right, man. There's the trailer. We're going to take some stabs at the fan score on this bad boy. I'm going to say 75.
I don't think this is as well regarded as it deserves to be, because I really do enjoy this movie. I'm going to go 65.
I'm going to run it back and do the exact score of Wreck. I'm going to say 82.
Thank you for listening. Check out the website, horriblefilmschool.com, to find us on all podcast platforms, as well as links to all the social outlets. Give us a follow, leave a review, send us some rabies vaccines. I'm going to offer my support to women grinding for social media attention in the wee hours of the night. Keep your swerve on, but don't overdo it. No amount of dopamine rush is worth your eternal soul.
As always, if you're hearing our beautiful voices, tell at least one person you know, spread the love, spread the campaign, and get out there and watch The Mist for the next lesson. It's well worth the watch, but do skip the trailer. Good God, fellas. And I'm out.
Thanks for the likes, follows, listens, shares. We appreciate your time and attention. Join us for our next episode where we discuss and drain the main vein with Thomas Jane in 2007's The Mist.
So excited.
We'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.